transparency is incredibly important.
It's obviously had a chilling effect on the industry.
How has the collapse of FTX affected you?
We lost like 80K on FTX.
Human nature is human nature.
If you don't know something, that's okay. But say that you don't and tap on people who do know.
How has the collapse of FTX affected you and maybe affected one inch more broadly?
We lost like 80K on FTX from limited. We had some small amount of money there. We got huge amount of volume these days. We had $2.5 billion volume a day when it's happened because people started to move to DeFi, to own wallets, and started to hedge positions, decentralized like limitations on DEX, like aggregators. Actually, we got huge of volume because of these crazy things what happened with FTX. We are trustless, permissionless, and decentralized, and we don't care about such situations in terms of we don't have any positions of people. They don't give us money to trade with it or something like that. It's fully permissionless. You have your tokens on your wallet, and when you trade, you execute by yourself, and the protocol just ensures that you get this specific amount that you accept.
How is Alan wiser now than you were a year ago from all the shit that's been going on in the world?
It's important to keep in mind the reason that we're building what we're building in the first place. The benefits of a transparent, permissionless, immutable blockchain infrastructure. If there's a reason why the kind of fraud that we've seen at FTX, Alameda, and various other actors, those kinds of actions just simply would not have been possible in an open, transparent protocol, decentralized protocol, because everything would have been out in the open. There's no place to hide. As soon as something nefarious happens, people would have noticed. And we have to keep these principles in mind as we continue to build forward. And the key lesson that we're taking to heart is we've got to make it as easy as possible for developers to adopt these solutions, because human nature is human nature. If you don't make it easy, people won't use it. I will have to start with the developers, because unless it is easy for them, they won't build on it.
How has the collapse of the Three Arrows and the Celsius and SBF or FTX, how has that affected the product development or anything else related to how you guys are working or how other people are working?
For us, it has a direct effect. We were never in FTX. There's been no direct effect for us. It's obviously had a chilling effect on the industry more generally. People are scared. People are conserving runway. Just means less is going to be filled. It's also, there's less anticipation around the industry right now. Check sizes and smaller, valuations and smaller. It's healthy, ultimately. The last couple of years have been really hard watching people do things that have largely been not useful. And I think as an industry, we really need to take a lot of blame because we haven't attracted billions of people to the industry. You've built nonsense, actually, broadly.
So obviously SBF and the fall of FTX there's massive collateral damage from that. And it seemed to be not a technology issue, but a fraudulent related issue to moving money around and bank accounts and that sort of thing. Would it be shocking to see in the next couple of years a similar sort of exploit happen in the foundation layer?
I think it's really important that foundations, and actually, I think this is generally true for the sort of crypto and blockchain ecosystem. I think transparency is incredibly important. And for instance, again, the Stellar Development Foundation, we publicly display the funds that we are distributing. And so anyone can actually see that we are doing what it is that we say that we intend to do. And so that level of transparency, which is something that this sort of open nature of blockchain allows, is something that we as an industry should expect and lean into. And so I think if you're trying to evaluate whether someone's an honest actor, a lot of the times I think you should be able to look at the transactions. You should be able to look at the record, right? And say, are they acting honestly? And so I think that helps to build faith. I think transparency, that's the way to keep people informed, make sure that people are honest, that organizations act honestly. And honestly, I think for us, it's really important to do that because we want feedback from the ecosystem. We are out there trying to support people and encourage them to build on this underlying infrastructure. And in order to do that, it's crucial that we actually know what they think we should do. And so beyond just transparency, I think it's also engagement. So we're transparent, we're engaged, we have a ton of interaction with the various people who are actually the builders on our technology. And by doing that, the goal is to like make sure that we're aligned with the ecosystem as a whole. And I think that's like the expectation, right? Not just for foundations, but for organizations. If you're working an open source, open participation, public blockchain, you got to use that, the public nature of it, to like make sure that you create alignment and that you are held accountable for the decisions that you make.
Should it affect your investment outlook when you say maybe a new bank is coming to you and they're trying to raise money? The banking crisis is now happening. Whereas 2 weeks ago, they would have been, the waters are perfectly placid, but today they seem to be choppy. That would be the first and most obvious type of company that would be affected. But are there other indirect externalities from the volatile market that you're seeing on the investment side?
I'll tell you in that scenario that if someone comes to us, I'm a big believer in intellectual honesty, self-awareness. If you don't know something, that's okay, but say that you don't and tap on people who do know. So we do, when there is something that we see, if we don't know the space really well, we tap our experts. We've got a deep network of advisors and we'll bring them in for different pieces. So in this case, it's obviously well known that there are challenges in the ecosystem. We do know the space, this particular space fairly well, but there are a lot of complexities here. We'll see solutions that pop up and we think about, hey, is there a real moat here? What's the competitive landscape look like? What regulatory challenges might pop up? We try to tap our experts who know way more than we do. So we know enough to know what we don't know, right? And so we tend to leverage that as we go through these processes. So I think in the situation that we had a brand new bank come in here, there's a lot that we know in that space, but there's a lot of expertise and probably economists that I want to bring in to understand what is likely to happen. I know no one knows exactly what's going to happen, but how this might impact this new business. So we take that approach to any new opportunity we're looking at.